besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love.
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun.
And have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with 2 women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie.
Allegedly allegations.
And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo.
Hi, besties. Thank you for joining today. It is Thursday, June 13th. Wow. Okay. Let me start with this. I am joining you a little later than usual. And it is without Giorgio. He's got some stuff going on. I'm joining a little later because I was doing a little tidbit on TMZ. And guess what my stupid self forgot to do? Yeah, I forgot to even say my name. You know, I'm used to doing live things, obvi, but I was like, oh my God, I forgot to say my own damn name. You're on TV, Caitlin. Say your name. So, yeah, you'll be able to see little old me on TMZ. That rhymed. Making a little comment about J-Lo and Ben and what's going on there. So, that was a hectic morning getting ready for that. This is going to be a slightly unhinged episode, so get ready because I was literally wanting to put my head through a wall for forgetting to say my own damn name. Way to go, Caitlin. Yes, fantastic. You're doing your best, honey. Should we start? Well, this is all gossip, and it is so much. There is so much happening, okay? Let me start with the Kyle and Amanda of it all, because I did mention it on Tuesday's episode when I was covering the Summer House reunion. Now, it's interesting because Dumois said on her podcast that she received a blind about someone on Bravo who is an quote unquote entrepreneur turned DJ. And what's interesting is she thought at first this person was talking about James Kennedy. And then she realized, oh no, the title, like the subject said, let's get cooking. Well, clearly that's Mr. Kyle Cook. So, you know, this blind was saying that Kyle was making out with someone, being inappropriate. And she said, Dumois did, that she gets all these blinds constantly. And she's a big fan of Amanda and she doesn't want to perpetuate the rumors if she doesn't know for certain. And, you know, Kyle has a history. But I mean, she is getting, from what she said, DMs, blinds, things like that. Just saying, like, my friend made out with Kyle at a bar, at an event he was doing last weekend, all the time. So I'm going to basically say the same thing that Du said, which is, Kyle, get it together. I mean, you have Amanda Batula, who is effortlessly cool. She can be a little bit, you know, she can sometimes be a dud only in the sense of reality TV world. And this is not a dig at Amanda that I'm saying. I'm actually complimenting her. She is not someone who is thriving on drama from what we can see, But it also seems that this may possibly be a way for them to create more storyline because I think we've been beaten over the head with the Carl and Lindsay of it all. Like I said on Tuesday, it's really been a big PR tour almost, and Lindsay knows best how to do that, I should say, of Lindsay going around on all these podcasts talking about everything. And to be honest, like I said, if you listen, besties, I've been pretty adamantly team Lindsay. And I say that knowing that she has her moments of being a bit monstrous. Let's be real. We've been watching for a while. So I say that with that in mind. But we get the same story over and over. So what do we talk about on Summer House now? Because they're about to pick those cameras up. We've got a few weeks. They normally start filming about the weekend of the 4th of July. And that's less than a month away. Oh my God, the 4th of July is less than a month away. You look like the 4th of July. Makes me want a hot dog real bad. Let's see what happens there. But I would support Amanda heavily in, well, whatever comes next. Let's just put it that way. Now, moving on to another Kyle. I don't know if y'all saw, but there were some boots on the ground where they're filming season 14 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And unfortunately, we couldn't hear it. There's no audio. Damn it. I need Andy and a camera and a mic, okay? Because Kyle Richards, you can see in this video, they're all sitting at what looks like a booth in a restaurant, which was giving me, "You're such a goddamn liar, Camille," vibes. Oh my God, I always cuss in the first 10 minutes of this. It is like a goal not to, but it happens, okay? Got a potty mouth. Anyway, so you can see Kyle. I mean, she's got the hands going. She looks in this video. Queens of Bravo posted it. She looks in this video like she's mocking Dorit, talking in her voice. This is just my interpretation of what's happening in this video. She's just very like, you did this and you did that with her hands, like casting a spell type of thing. And it is Dorit she's yelling at. She's sitting next to Erica. You can see a blonde woman. I should have looked up who that was. It was, like I said, it was an insane day. I'm assuming it's one of the newbies sitting next to Kyle. And then you can also see Sutton is sitting next to Dorit. And Sutton's face is like, oh my God. Because Sutton's been on the receiving end of Kyle going after her as well. So it's not as though Sutton has no idea what that's like. But listen, I have a feeling it's coming down to Dorit going after Kyle for not talking to her about the marriage issues that Kyle was having with Mauricio. And then Dorit turns around and does the same thing. She and PK separate. Y'all, what? You know, I believe someone else posted this. I want to say it was Bravo Buds, was like, they brought Dorit back for this season just so Kyle could drag her to hell and rotten hell. But listen, I think that's probably part of it. They wanted to let Kyle lay into Dorit about the PK stuff. And I said this before, Dorit would get to keep her diamond if it came out fully that she and PK are separated. They've been called out constantly and they would deny it. And now it's like, oh, after Dorit was so hurt that Kyle wouldn't talk about it with her, she wasn't talking with her about her own stuff. So come on. Hypocrite. Y'all know it's like I have a love-hate relationship with Dorit. You know what I'm saying? I want to like her because she's the pinnacle of the delusional housewife we need. You know what I'm saying? And it's just too much. God bless. Okay. Speaking of delusion. Wow. So I want y'all to check out on Instagram, Bravo, Ducking Bravo. I love her. She is, I spent some time with her at BravoCon. Absolutely adore her. She stays completely anonymous, so I'm not going to say her real name, nothing like that. But what I am going to say is she did a fantastic deep dive on a particular company. And every time I'm starting to say this company, I want to say Viviana because that's kind of a pretty name. You know what I mean? Not a tragedy name. If you know, you know. If you lurk Reddit, you know. It's Venivia is this new startup that Louis Ruelas, you know, Teresa Giudice's husband, has been really promoting hard. Okay. He's been promoting it to TMZ. He's been promoting it everywhere, tagging them, putting the hashtag in all of his social media posts. And I want to reiterate a lot of this information I did get from Bravo, Ducking Bravo. And her deep dive is fantastic. It's in the highlights of her story. So I'm just going to condense some of it here. But for example, whenever Teresa and Louis were at Coachella, and remember they met Taylor Swift, we were like, God, all roads really do lead to Bravo, my friends. There was a hashtag in Louis' post of it, which said, every time I want to say Viviana, Venivia live. And he was there for some sort of hype event for them. Now, Venivia is essentially a supposed to be like an online live streaming platform for creators. So let's say I wanted to join it. What it would be is very similar to doing a Patreon. You would be monetizing live streaming for your listeners, for your community. We already have that. So it's a little, you know, their whole thing is about how it's more reliable streaming. Well, I use StreamYard to do this with y'all. And don't prove me wrong, StreamYard. I just gave you a free ad. But, you know, there are a lot of platforms to do this. But Louis I don't know if y'all remember back when it was a whole thing about how Louis was doing media company type of thing. What's interesting is the website does not list Louis as one of the members of leadership, but he's in a lot of their videos, like standing outside yelling. And I mean, it's like from below the belly button type of yelling about this app. And they only just launched in April. Now, where I'm going with this is there is a very well-known party planner, and her Instagram account is Wife of the Party. She's done movie screenings like Mean Girls. She's worked with Paris Hilton, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend. She is well known there in Southern California. Okay. She's legit. And it's alleged, along with lots of screenshots, that this company that Louis is so ingratiated in owes her $300,000 for an event she did for them. Friends, $300,000. And she's having to communicate with one of the CEOs, and I'm not sure if I keep wanting to say it's Marcello, but I heard someone pronounce it Marcello. And he's giving her this runaround about the wire transfer from the bank and da-da-da-da. And she's not getting her money. Money by Monday, Fofty. And he has not given her the money. And yet Louis out playing golf, doing things like being in their videos where they have cyber trucks. You know, the Tesla Cybertrucks that are so, it's a very Kanye West thing. You know what I'm talking about? And apparently you're not allowed to sell your Cybertruck if you buy it from Tesla for the entire first year, or Tesla can sue you for $50,000, allegedly. So they have all these Tesla Cybertrucks that they painted pink, and their slogan is "Do it live." I feel like there's some sort of missed marketing opportunity here. Do it live. Surely there was something better. No? Okay. Well, there's also posts of Louis being at a helicopter with them. And, you know, it's very lavish what they're trying to show this app as. And it's giving me Fire Festival. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not trying to dog this app. Maybe it's a great app. Maybe it has something to offer for content creators. Okay. And this isn't me trying to cover my ass. This is me saying maybe there is something to it. But that is a problem. If you are showing yacht parties with content creators and celebrities that you are allegedly throwing. And literally, there's a video of like 20 Cybertrucks. I didn't even think they made that many. I may be exaggerating the number, but the number of trucks, I want to say, didn't they only make like 50 or 100 of those? I could be wrong. I remember seeing that somewhere though. I feel like this company bought half of them. And I mean, this guy is saying, the CEO, Marcello, is saying in these WhatsApp messages between Lorianne and who is wife of the party planner, saying he's waiting on like a $2 million transfer and all of this stuff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just super rich people things that I don't understand. That being said, if you're waiting on 2 million and you're buying things like cyber trucks, I mean, I'm sure you're leasing them, but you're able to rent a helicopter, rent a yacht, because let's get real, they're not buying these things. Something tells me you're not managing the money very well. And to me, as a content creator, if they approached me, I'm going to be like, well, why am I seeing these messages if you can't pay $300,000 to someone who provided a service for you? And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I can't pay that. But here, check out these videos of how much money you could make as a content creator with us. Like, let's just be very candid about it. I'm going to be like, something's off. Like I said, Fire Festival vibes. You feel me? She's feeling herself today. It's only Thursday. I keep thinking it's Friday. Now, one more thing before I get into the Billy Lee, Tom Sandoval, Victoria Lee Robinson, and Kyle Chan of it all. Carol Radziwill was essentially outed as the quote-unquote anonymous source in that New York Times article where they were talking about, not so great, about Andy Cohen and this quote-unquote anonymous housewife who was a quote-unquote fired Real Housewife of New York, had said that, essentially housewives used to be about delusional women or women who are delusional about their social standing, having petty fights with each other. And it became something so much bigger where they're doing research opposition on each other. And she just was saying unflattering things about Andy. And on Radio Andy, he was like, oh yeah, it's Carol Radziwill. Well, let me see if I can pull up what Carol, because Carol admitted it. Y'all, she admitted it. Carol was like, she ain't afraid, my friends, because Carol then caught wind when Queens of Bravo posted this on X. It's still so hard to call it X. I will never be okay with it. But she fires back on X. And Carol goes, hey, Carol here. Someone can make a truthful observation, and there's always one short-ish dude waiting to be offended. At this point, why would any normal person use their name? They're also vindictive, which I believe is the point of the quote and confirmed by Andy's nasty response. So here's the actual quote that was given to the New York Times by Carol. And I got pretty close here. She said, the show went from silly humor about middle-aged women getting drunk and being delusional about their status and having funny, petty arguments to housewives investigating and doing opposition research and making up false storylines and leaking stories on each other and trying to get one another fired. Listen. I am going to say that for damn sure that's what New Jersey has turned into. I don't know that New York before the reboot turned into that. I didn't really see that from my standpoint. And New York has always been one of my favorites. I am a Sonia Rita lover, my friends. I love Sonia. I love her. I know she can be completely delulu, which is perfect. I love her so much. Leave Sonia alone. But it doesn't seem like it's getting any better because also on Radio Andy was like, can't wait to see you soon, Carol. Oh, excuse me. Can't wait to see you soon, Carol. We have a lot to talk about. We'll catch up. Okay. My friends. This never-ending saga of having to see so much about Tom Sandoval and his comings and goings, his what have you. Every time that man, that how do you say man in a way where you're like, man, like as if you're saying that it's a bad word. Man is a bad word. That man, every time that man seems like he might sort of redeem himself, we find out more. And it's a lot. So let's start with this. Friday night, his girlfriend, Tom Sandoval's girlfriend, Victoria Lee Robinson, remember the beautiful model who had once been linked to Leonardo DiCaprio? How were they linked? Well, they were both caught by paparazzi leaving a Justin Bieber tour party, something exclusive. This was quite a few years ago. What's interesting is when I was doing some Googling, I couldn't really find a lot of her work. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but a lot of models will have been on something in film and television usually, and there is at least a couple of appearances they've done on something to get a credit on IMDb. Well, Victoria's only credit is when she was hand over to on Watch What Happens Live when Sandoval was on. So I do find that interesting. Now, who knows what other business things she could be running? I don't know. Okay. I try only to talk about what I do know. And what I do know is that live that Kyle Chan and Victoria did on Up and Adam on Friday night, those two, Kyle and Victoria, it looked like a hostage situation. I feel like Adam was trying to do his best to navigate through this interview, but you could kind of see on his face, like, what is going on? Trying to get them going in a direction because Victoria was she rambled a lot. Okay. Now y'all know I have ADHD, like, like nobody's business. I can ramble, but there was the roundabout ways Victoria would tell a story. I mean, I understand maybe she was nervous. That's possible. And probably not just possible. I'm sure it's true. Kyle was quite stoic, and I think that's just kind of how Kyle is. It looked like they were doing this live in Kyle's jewelry store. And the reason I say that is if you look in the reflection of the three posters behind them, which were all La La Land posters, Kyle Chan must really like La La Land. I mean, he really likes La La Land. And you can see in that reflection what looked to be jewelry cases in an expensive jewelry store. Something else that a Redditor noticed was that there is a moment right before Adam plays the clip for them of Billy Lee talking about Victoria and Tom and their relationship. You can see in the reflection, someone shows Kyle a note card, like a piece of paper, and Kyle looks at it, clearly reads it, and nods. Now, I think that those two were not prepared. I think, again, Adam did his best to keep them on track. I think he probably tried to have some sort of a plan going in, but with these two, they just weren't prepared. And it felt like Kyle was really there as emotional support for Victoria, I'm guessing. They made a lot of accusations against Billy Lee. Now, they didn't have the receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, okay? Victoria, one thing she says is she accuses Billy of making a claim that Kyle Chan had made an attempt to inebriate Tom Sandoval via drugs and to essentially assault him. Now, Victoria then says, well, and it's on camera. And Adam's like, well, okay, great. Show us tell us, show us receipts. We love a receipt. And Victoria's goes on this long roundabout story about how actually the camera that they have in the kitchen of what used to be both Sandoval and Ariana's home was not recording. So she has no proof of this. Billy completely denies that she ever even insinuated that Kyle Chan had any sort of agenda, I should say, to drug and assault Sandoval. I should have given a trigger warning. I apologize. Now, on her podcast that came out maybe 20 hours ago, Billy's, she did say that she may have said that Sandoval and Kyle were on drugs. Again, alleged, and that she believes Kyle hit on him, but she says she doesn't recall even saying that, but that was what she was saying. Now, that's a really heavy accusation all around and really triggering for a lot of people, okay? There was something else that happened in the live interview. Oh my God. A lot of people were suspect about this. Victoria is sitting there, and again, it was full-blown hostage situation. Look, it was so bizarre. And Victoria is like texting. And let me tell you something. Whenever you are doing one of these things, like you're doing a podcast and you have a guest on, and especially if you're live, but you're seeing them looking away, doing things, you're going to be like, okay, what's going on? And Victoria pulls up her phone literally and starts texting and says she has to go pee really bad. And she runs off and she's back really fast. And a lot of people were suspect about that. Now, I do want to say, I don't want to, again, accuse anyone of anything because we don't know. But yes, I will say in this, Victoria does kind of slur her words when she talks. She rambles. She has a hard time staying on topic. That can be due to a number of things. Victoria claimed that she had been in a very bad car accident. And it sounds like, and she fully said, yes, I know I slur my words. So if that's the case, then, let's stop speculating for sure that, she's off doing some pasta, marinara sauce, extra parm, finely grated parm, finely grated, just pile that white stuff on. Okay. Let's just say if that is the case, then, that's something that can happen. The problem is with this whole interview is not only did Victoria and Kyle not have any receipts, any proof, they didn't do themselves any favors at all. They ended up just basically igniting a fire more for Billy to be like, now, wait a minute here. Because they also claim that Billy wanted to have a baby with Tom Sandoval. Now, let me also say, as I'm talking about this, it is Pride Month. We keep the comments cute and clean. Be nice. We support the entire LGBTQIA plus community. Let's make that clear. Now, Billy did confirm that she and Sandoval had a talk about this, okay? And she says it was cleared up and decided that they weren't going to use Tom's little slimmers before he even met Victoria. Now, this is the other thing. So there was the claim by Kyle on this interview. I'm kind of jumping back and forth, trying to give you some of it, and then I'm going to completely go into everything Billy said. Kyle had claimed that Billy Lee had told Karamo Brown from Queer Eye, who, how the gods blessed me with that. I got to meet Karamo on Sunday when he was at an event here in Denver for the podcast Come Back with Erica Cobb. If you haven't ever seen the national syndicated talk show, Daily Blast, they filmed that here in Denver. Erica has been on my podcast before. I love her. She is so incredibly brilliant. And she is very much a Bravo correspondent. She's been to the Kathy Hilton Christmas party, honey. She was at BravoCon, all of it. I was dying to ask Karamo if it was true because it was Sunday and this whole live interview came out Friday, but it just didn't pan out and didn't really fit the vibe because it was a very heartfelt talk that everyone had. So I just want to say that I did want to, and I did make an attempt just for the besties, but it just... Sometimes you got to adhere to social cues and feel the vibe of the room. Otherwise, you're just a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? And I would have been a weirdo if I had just been like, so did Billy Lee tell you? But Billy Lee says that she was at a party or an event where I believe, I can't remember if she was saying Sandoval was there, but she had been talking with Karamo. She loves him because she knows he has 2 kids. And they were just kind of joking about, she says Karamo was like, well, I'll give you a kid, honey. He's very sweet, probably joking, obviously. And she says that was the extent of it. It wasn't a serious conversation where she was like, I am having Thomas Sandoval's baby. Why did I become Lisa Barlow? I don't know. It was a little mixed there. All right. So Let's now I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting, but I'm sure it will come back. But let's get into breaking down a bit of the Billy Lee and the Kid or Billy and the Kid podcast that came out yesterday. I also want to give a shout out to Vanderpod Recaps. She is a true soldier. I took some of her notes and took some of my own, but she just gets in there. She's my type of gal, puts the timestamps, practically a transcript. Now, this is one of the things that's interesting too. So, Tom apparently has blocked Billy on everything like social media, right? But he didn't block T. Now, remember T, cute little, she's Asian, cute girl that was seeing Tom in that season 11, God bless, when Ariana saw her after their bowling date, was like, so how old are you? And T was like, I'm 25. And Ariana was like, yeah, that makes sense. And it was just kind of like an awkward moment, right? Which, speaking of Ariana, did y'all see the promo and her in general on Love Island? Holy shit. I am straight as the day is long, but my God, Ariana, it was golden goddess hot. That dress, ooh, she looked incredible. Incredible. I mean, she's never looked better. Stunning. I can't, no notes, just mwah, chef's kiss. So T says on Billy's podcast that Sandoval is actually still following her. And I'm not gonna lie, I hadn't listened to any of Billy's podcasts. Sorry, Billy, before all of this. And I guess T had been on there previously, and T had been, I don't know, maybe making fun of his little Sandoval, his little sand devil, his little worm with mustache. And yet he's still following T, I guess. And I mean, they really get into this, okay? So we're going to move on now. That's just one little thing. All right. This makes me kind of sad. Billy Lee apparently lost a majority of her other friendships by being so supportive of Sandoval during Scandoval, which, I mean, on top of that, it sounds from Billy's standpoint that she was basically playing his wife and doing things like cleaning up after him, watering Ariana's plants while Ariana is gone. She was spending all this time with him to the point where she said, yes, we both were codependent with each other until he gets this girlfriend, Victoria. So there's a lot to be said here because it's, from what I understand, Victoria was really trying to say when she was on this live interview that Billy Lee was trying to isolate Tom to have him to herself. And the way Victoria was speaking about Billy when she was on this live was as though we could say it's confirmed she absolutely, at the very least, thought that Billy wanted to sleep with Sandoval. Whether she has ever had that inclination or it's happened or not, everything read to me that Victoria absolutely felt that Billy had romantic feelings for Sandoval. There is no denying the eye rolls, the little smirks. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, you just have to watch someone's face and you know. Okay? You know. Okay. Bear with me. I think I have 20 pages of the notes here. So I'm trying to get to the key points. Now, Billy confronts the whole thing of Kyle saying that Billy was asking him if he wanted to give her jewelry to wear when she was on the show. And she was like, saying, no, I wasn't asking that. I was saying, like, look, I'm on the show. If you want to loan me something, I'll wear it, whatever. Now, she was very upset, rightfully so. And I cringed whenever Kyle said that Billy would, quote unquote, pull the trans card. You know, there is something to be said. I can't imagine dealing publicly with being out as a trans person. So let's be clear that type of saying someone's pulling the trans card, unless it's that I don't know, this person ran over your foot and said you got in their way because they're trans, that's pulling the trans card. Okay. I don't Billy did confirm, look, I only said and pulled the quote unquote trans card that night regarding the girls' night. If y'all remember when she and Lala got into it and she was very upset about being excluded from that girls' night that was at Sir, that I believe it was like Katie and Stassi and them were throwing. And look, I can understand from her, and this is not me trying to be politically correct. I genuinely can see from her standpoint why that would have been hurtful. You know, I can't imagine. It almost makes me tear up, like navigating life for however many of your formative years, having to get to this point and being so public. And, that would be hurtful. Like you feel like finally I'm the first trans person on one of these Bravo reality TV shows, at least in my recent memory, and you think you're going to be able to be treated as you present and as you identify, and it probably was incredibly hurtful. Now, she did say, I ended up finding out later on it was production that put the list of the girls together for this girls' night. So she ended up saying, it wasn't on Katie, it wasn't on those girls. And it's just, it did break my heart. I remember then watching it and being sad about it, even though I love those witches of WeHo. I mean, sometimes you're wrong. But again, let's just remember that it allegedly was production that did all of that. Now, speaking of production, when Billy was coming on to season 11, being that supporting friend of, let's also be real, we all felt, I still feel like there was a lot of thirst happening there because she did say, look, I was there to clear my name. Of what, Billy? Of being a friend to Sandoval? That's fine because she didn't do any interviews. She didn't talk to the paparazzi, and that she admitted, I never did any of that, which is true. We never saw her doing that. But there was maybe another way to do it than going back on the show to be so supportive of Tom. I just, what was he doing for you in return in your friendship? And I don't mean transactionally. I'm not hearing a lot that he was very supportive of her. And maybe there's something I'm missing, but it felt like she was doing a lot for him. I mean, truly. And he was not doing a lot in return emotionally even. Does that make sense? So when Billy came to film, she says, again, she was there to clear her name. But when they went and did that like cold plunge thing, she said she knew the way they were editing it, that she was really looking at him as though she was gazing at him lovingly. And I'm not going to lie, I was one of those people, I was like, oh my God, Billy, your eyes have been replaced with the heart emojis. Okay. It is straight up, you love him. Now, she says she was concerned he'd gotten in a cold plunge. She was like, oh my God, is he okay? Like, what's happening? She says that then she saw Tom and some of the members of production talking kind of secretly and kind of laughing. And that she was like, goes over to Tom. She's like, what is it that you're laughing about? And he tells her they think we're sleeping together. And so to me, that says that Sandoval, now this whole moment can be taken in so many contexts. It could be that Sandoval was uncomfortable, like, oh my God, of course you think that. She's an attractive woman. I'm not sleeping with her. It's uncomfortable trying to keep things kosher. Or it could have been that he was, being more of a villain, going, I'm going to throw my friend Billy under the bus and make her look crazy. It could be taken both ways. And I want to just be completely transparent that I see that it could be taken both ways. But if you're in that moment and you're the one standing there while someone else is like whispering in front of you and giggling, that don't feel good, y'all. Okay. So moving on. Like I said, there's a lot here. From what I understand, Billy's car was broken into, and this whole thing, whenever Sandoval got with Victoria, Billy says that Victoria love bombs you. She was buying her flowers, getting her favorite ice cream, and inviting her over all the time. And it's hard because I don't love bombing. Yes, when I think of someone who's a love bomber, Trey Stumps, leave me alone, but I think of Louis. Okay. I think of Louis Relis. I think of him 1000 million percent. I also think of every time I want to call him Garth Brooks, but it's not Garth Brooks. I think of Brooks. Those to me are love bombers. Okay. They hit you with all of it until they get what they want and then they're done. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible for someone to do that in a friendship, but I mean, maybe it's just me and my sixth sense that I go, okay, something about this is inauthentic. It sounds like Billy was feeling that sixth sense when it came to Victoria. Now, she also says that Victoria would say over and over how she'd never watched the show, as in Vanderpump Rules, things like that. And it's a general consensus of the people in the room that they think Victoria is a hanger-oner type of thing. And when I go further with that, when y'all hear Sandoval, oh, you scumbag. They end up reading a text from a girl. Now, this is what confused me a little bit. Basically, because there was a moment where they said that this girl, they gave her a code name, Abby. And we'll say quote unquote Abby because Abby didn't want her voice to be heard. Her mom was even fearful because these people get crazy, okay? And they do. But this is what's confusing to me is I could have sworn, and it's even here in the notes, that this quote unquote Abby girl is supposedly who introduced Victoria and Sandoval, but I know Sandoval met Victoria through the group of girls when they were in like Santa Monica or Venice or wherever they filmed the beach scene this year for season 11. He met her through that group of girls. Remember, he bought them like shots. He took a shot of water, that whole thing. Now, this Abby girl was hooking up with Tom Sandoval. And so then again, Billy must have misspoken when she said the whole thing of meeting through this Abby person. But there is a screenshot of this text that Billy has from, remember, quote unquote, Abby, not real name. Because Abby was hooking up with Tom. And I guess he would say, he said some insulting things to her. No, it wasn't a dig about how she kept her t-shirt on while they slept together. No. Okay, this is the text that was shown from Abby to Billy. Before I met Victoria, though, I should have seen the way Tom is because I remember some really insulting things. Like minutes after we had sex one day, he said to me, my next girlfriend has to be more famous than me. I can't have anybody riding my coattails. And as I'm still sitting there naked, not famous. LOL. LOL. Shit. Not that I wanted to be his next girlfriend. I didn't, but that hurt. The first night we hooked up, he said to me, you're totally my type. I like girls who look a little bit like a boy because my hair was up. She's like, again, just rude. He also talked so much shit about Ariana to me, it started to get really annoying. Now, we're not going to talk about anyone's sexuality here because I can't speculate about that. We don't do that. But, we do remember Tom loved it when Ariana cut her hair off. And it could just mean he likes badass masculine energy. I don't know. Whatever. But Billy then talks and T says, oh, yeah, no, Tom was like all about wanting a model. And Billy said that she would be saying to Tom, because I guess Tom and T got along really well. She was like, oh, no, T is fantastic. I want you guys to be together. And he'd be like, no, I want someone taller. I want a model dude, And guess what? He got one. But from what I understand, on top of that, Billy says that there were moments that Tom had told her that Victoria would get, quote unquote, manic and be all messed up on something and just be laying into him. And he would say that she had been so evil to him. And he'd randomly text her like, oh, Victoria broke up with me. And then maybe 30 minutes later, just kidding, LOL. Oh my God. Does that not sound exhausting to y'all at all? I'm tired thinking about it. I mean, I already want to go home. Thank you so much. Mhm. But on top of that, we have another weird summer house mirror moment where Billy alleged that Tom would record his fights with Victoria. And Billy's like, listen, your ship is already sunk, my guy. You don't need Victoria like calling the cops and saying, oh my God, Tom Sandoval abused me. You need to like, no, be done. This whole thing has gotten so messy. Okay. On top of that, Billy's been talking with Tom's assistant, Josh. Remember the assistant that we were like, oh my God, they look so much alike? And do you remember how I remember saying something along the lines on a previous episode that I did with Giorgio that I feel like they could be cousins. You guys, they're cousins. You can't make it up. You can't. You can't make it up at all. I want to hit the comments here for a second because I see the chat is kind of going quite a bit here. So if you want to shout out, you want to throw in something, join the chat now, my friends. I'm going to say hi to Kelly. Oh, hi, Kim. Welcome from Canada. I'm in Denver, but I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Miriam. Hi. Oh, Megan, the stylist. I love that. Hi, Adam. Welcome back from vacay. And I see Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer, they were saying, you know, Victoria kept saying that she wasn't media trained, but she was signed by a top modeling agency, as in actually Wilhelmina Chicago. Shout out to Wilhelmina Denver. I'm signed with them. But she says that on that live interview that she was their first model ever to be signed without being seen in person because I guess her mom had gone, which also Victoria lived in LA from what I could find on bio information for her. So Chicago, whatever, Wilhelmina, Chicago, it's another modeling mecca, but she brought in her comp card proofs, what have you. And I guess that's how she got signed, according to her, at Wilhelmina, Denver, Wilhelmina, Chicago. Now, who do I see here? Sorry, the writing is so small on my screen. Elixium, I hope I said no, still got it wrong. Exilixium, I give up. Okay. We also have to understand that for Billie Lee to take Tom's side made her look like she's trying to get back on Vanderpump Rules. Yes, true. And just like you said, she did go out a few times with Ariana's brother, Jeremy Maddox. So let's just say that. Hi, NYCNP. Hi, Laura. And yes, hi from NYC, Miriam. I see Tay Tay. Hey. And I see also Jen Nicole. Yes, imagine this Queen Ariana we are seeing now still stuck with this man-child. Could you imagine? Listen, Ariana, let's make this clear. Ariana would not be getting the opportunities she's been getting solely because she got cheated on. Ariana has talent. I saw her when she was in Chicago or starring in Chicago, which she's going to be again this fall as Roxy Hart. This is not me blowing smoke. She was fantastic. I still say Roxy Hart is a very difficult character to play because there is so much like kitschiness and very like, oh, boop, boop, almost like it can go Betty Boop quality if you're not grounded. And I truly felt like Ariana was. I was up very close. And again, I have nothing to gain or lose by saying my genuine thoughts of it. And I thought she was fantastic. The whole cast was truly. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Let's see. NYCMP, correct. Wilhelmina, Adam was signed with Wilhelmina. Victoria may have said Ford in Chicago. That makes more sense. Yes, Judy. Hi. You saw Ariana in February. That's exactly when I went. Oh my God. What if we were at the same show? If you were there and you were waiting in line to go to the bathroom after the show because it was a majority female audience, I purchased a pair of Skims. So sorry, Skims. Maybe you could try and send me something different because I was in pain and dying. I had to run into the bathroom, take off the Skims. I couldn't wait in line anymore. I couldn't wait. The line was a mile long, okay, to go to the women's restroom. Women were going in the men's restroom. I literally walked in. I said, I'm not cutting anyone. So let me at least get this absolute boa constrictor of a thong off of my body. And I took it off and I announced to everyone, Skims are not what you think they are. So if you heard a female in the bathroom, yell about that. You're welcome. Now I announced it to a lot of you, a lot of people. And yeah, it's interesting too that Kelly said that Victoria and Joe are the same person, unreliable, unhinged, have difficulty conversing, and both were introduced to us by boys named Tom. You're right. You're right. The thing with Joe, in my opinion, is Joe. Okay. So Joe, they are very similar. Joe has very much been wanting to be on this show for a long time, which brings me to something else that has been brought up a lot that I didn't even intend to talk about. I forgot about this. So, if y'all haven't been catching me or Giorgio and myself recapping The Valley, which y'all, The Valley is so good. I'm telling you, Vanderpump Rules is probably going to go bye-bye in The Valley. That's where it's at. It's organic, at least for the most part, as organic as it can be with Jax Taylor. Yay. Anywho, Janet Caperna, Giorgio and I clocked her from the beginning. At the very first episode, we both were like, no, we kind of like her. Episode 2, we were like, messy, messy, messy Janet. So I will say that it is quite fascinating. The story that I forgot the Instagram account. So DM me if this was you and I will put your credit in the notes. They found a podcast that Janet was on, saying how she met Sheena. So Janet was leaving like Ohio and she was married. And she decided, okay, I want to leave. I'm done with my marriage, which go ahead, girl. That's fine. Gotcha. She wanted to move to LA. And she goes to a party at the Mondrian where everything seems to happen. And she ends up seeing Sheena. And these are Janet's words. Janet said, oh my God, that's Sheena from Vanderpump Rules. I want to go talk to her. And she said she walked over and was talking to her, being like, oh my God, you're so brave, talking about your divorce with Shay and all this stuff. And, I really love that you're so brave on the show. And she said they ended up taking a bunch of shots and kind of getting wasted together because she was like, I'm trying to move here to LA because I'm getting a divorce and all this stuff. Well, they leave. She leaves and she's like, oh my God, that was just such a cool experience. And she claims she doesn't remember that she and Sheena exchanged numbers. And she gets a text from Sheena a few days later. And that Sheena was like, let's hang out, blah, blah, blah. It's been alleged that Janet was gunning to be on one of the reality shows. And she did get to go on for a moment when she was altering the girls' sur dresses one time when they were at Sheena's place in Marina. Now, I also feel that there's something off with Janet, and I'm not sure what it is aside from what we've already been seeing. What she accused Zach Wickham of saying about her and her pregnancy was really egregious. And if he said the exact words that she claims, then there's some atoning that needs to be done, and you got some explaining to do. Now, that being said, if she was going off of what was said in that finale episode when they were at the Jax's Studio City opening and Zach is being told by Michelle, you realize you're stressing Janet out. You know what could happen. And here, trigger warning. And Zach goes, oh, yeah, I know. She could lose her baby. And Michelle says, yeah, so, don't you care? What have you? And I never heard him say, I don't care, which I was assuming it was going to be something like that. Right. But then also all he says was, she is like the Queen of England. She is dead to me. Let's think about that context. Okay. That to me was not what I have liked someone saying that about me while I'm pregnant. Hell no. I'd be like, you little son of a bitch. But that is not wishing ill on someone, a pregnant person and their unborn child. So unless there is, we need the actual proof there. Okay. Janet also, you want to talk about using a specific card against people as a weapon. Janet absolutely weaponized her pregnancy. And I'm talking as someone who has been pregnant, been a gigantic pregnant person, and you don't want to be stressed out. I totally get that. But when Jax comes over during that finale to talk to her about what the things she was alleging, saying that, that she never wanted Jax to tell Zach he wasn't invited. And Jax walks over and starts saying, okay, you know what? We have to deal with this right at the head because he's a good reality star as much as we loathe that man. I'm calling him Jason Couchy. I want to remember to call him that. Mr. Couchy. You're not a Taylor, you're a Couchy. Anyway, Jax goes over and he's talking loudly. I wouldn't have considered it him yelling if he had gone up maybe another octave. Okay. But she literally immediately goes, "Watch your tone. I'm pregnant." Ma'am. That's pulling the pregnancy card. So, maybe there are some things that Billie Lee has said and done that I forgot. Yes, I know there is thirst in there, but honey, I've said this before. Anyone who is on reality TV, as much as we love them and we love people being organic, we love all of it. There must be a level of thirst in there, or they are not good for our television. Let's be real. Thirsty is not always the worst thing in the world, okay? Listen, I must be thirsty as hell sitting here talking to all of you because I'm thirsty for some besties in my community who want to talk all this shit with me. So, it's okay. I'm not necessarily saying something horrible, but we got to be honest about it too. All right? Now, I want to make sure there wasn't anything I was forgetting from all of this. The insanity of what Billie Lee was now alleging back against Tom and Victoria. Because remember, Tom Sandoval is in Scotland filming Traitors. Ooh, I swear to God, if Dorinda, you never know with Dorinda, okay? I love her so much. But this is the thing. She's either going to be very sweet to Sandoval or she's going to go ahead and be a monster. She'll be chill with him at first either way. But if she doesn't at some point get a little wasty face with a little bit of, that rouge over off to the right, needs to be a little bit off and maybe a little bit on her teeth, And if she is not saying, "Yeah, well, you cheated on your girlfriend, Sandoval," I'm going to be disappointed. And yes, I do see this too. Thank you for the reminder, Adam. Jeremiah, one of the producer, the big producer that we kept hearing about, talking about in season 11 of Vanderpump Rules, he is allegedly going to be joining The Valley as a producer. Now, I think Jeremiah was sort of brought in as that person who was supposed to give all of them like that kick in the ass, because on top of that, see, I thought this was going to be a short episode today, but y'all, the tea is hot. When Lala went on the Two Teas in a Pod podcast, she was saying in response after being asked to Sheena saying on a podcast, how many are there? That she took a meeting that they had with some of the producers as, look, you need to be on your game. You need to bring it this season or we are done. Okay. So Lala says she didn't take it that way. Lala also says that this season she's never felt more out of the loop, like pushed out of the group and she's never felt so much so that she didn't belong in this group. Hearing some of her explanation, some of it made a little more sense. Lala was frustrated that because Ariana this season was going to be the main storyline, she wanted her to bring it. But two things can be true at the same time. Lala, who wants to keep her job, can want that. But babe, that means if she is gray rocking and setting that boundary, baby doll, that means you got to bring it. Okay? Now, the way you could have brought it more was by doing the opposite of what you did in most of these moments. And something she had said on her podcast was that she's not she said that she's a friend, not a great friend, not a bad friend, but she's a friend. I understand as a mom, she's got a lot of stuff going on. She's got her quote unquote pod, her family, all of that. But the way you could have brought it was by choosing to be a great friend to one of your friends there. You could have, during the season, stood up for Sheena more vehemently because Sheena doesn't really have that a lot because it's kind of hard to stand up for Sheena a lot at all. Okay. Anyway, moving on. But you needed to stand for something. And part of the problem was Lala had decided she was going to be quote unquote soft this season. You can be soft and still stand up for people. You can, like they say, if you won't, what is it? You now that I'm saying like they say, if you won't stand for anything, you'll fall for something. If you won't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Okay, cool. Caitlin's well read, I swear. That being said, I think that would have brought a lot more if she had been like getting on Sandoval. Look, you completely screwed Sheena over. If she had decided to be Sheena's champion, that would have given her more of a storyline than what she had. You can't rely on one person to drive the storyline. It's like they were all doing a group project. And just because Ariana was the presenter of the project, Lala wanted Ariana to do most of the work. But that's not how it goes. It is an ensemble cast for a reason. It's Vanderpump Rules, not Ariana Maddox's show. And Ariana understands that. Lala, yeah, she wouldn't want it to be just about one person anyway. She loves the ensemble. And she also, apparently, from what she said, loved that they showed her breaking the fourth wall because she claims that a producer came up to her and said, "Go ahead, Lala, break the fourth wall. Break it. Break it." Which I do believe that. I'm not saying that I think Lala is lying. I do think she tends to exaggerate things that are said. And that's just her personality. I, again, wouldn't associate her with being a liar. Okay. But, you know, it's hard because you can see how hard specifically those two girls, as in Lala and Sheena, are working to try and keep the bus moving. And it's kind of like, I need y'all to focus on something else. I don't know what that would be. You know, Katie's got the sandwich shop, which also Lala was saying she didn't know it was open to everyone, which I can understand if she apparently was staying off of social media because she was getting a lot of hate, like a lot. It's not been the easiest thing for her, I guess. But I think she can handle it. What I do hate to see myself, don't talk about how someone is as a parent, you know? I mean, we can also, before, because we're getting close to a close here, we can also talk about for a second the Meghan King, not Edmonds. There's no Edmonds anymore of it all. Her moving a robin's nest from her wreath, setting it in the yard so that she said in the video on social media, in hopes that a wild animal would eat the eggs. Then she was in the comments defending herself, saying, "Oh, you know, I didn't touch the nest." She's in the video taking the nest off of the wreath. She thought it was funny that she had her dog Girly Girl kind of tormenting this baby squirrel. Like, y'all, Meghan, I don't know what you're doing anymore. You're just kind of like off the rails yourself. But what is exciting is July 11th. We are getting Orange County back, my friends. We are. I think Giorgio and I are going to cover that because we did that together last year and it was so much fun. And it looks like it's going to be a fantastic season, even though Alexis Bellino makes me nuts. If I have to hear her call John Jansen Johnny all season, it's going to become the new babe from Summer House. Okay? Stop calling him Johnny. It makes my skin crawl. Like, ew. I like to use the word, it's not a real word, but it makes me feel a little vomitous, which is vomity. I know, we make up words here. Now, besties, I see we have so many people in the room. Yes, hi, Danny. Hi, Lucy. And I am taking the next week off. But mark those calendars because don't you know, if I'm leaving town, guess what? You have something major is going to break. Mhm. You have an exciting scandal coming your way. I will be back with you on the 25th. And I just know that sixth sense is tingling. Something major is going to happen. Believe you me. Also, yeah, look for me on TMZ today where I don't even introduce myself. Can I tell y'all how mad I was? I was like, I didn't even say my fucking name. Idiot. It's okay. I'm telling you now. It was me. That was me. Talking about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, right? Thank you all so much. We have a lovely crowded room here, and I'm so glad to see so many besties in the community joining. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like. I want you in the community. Join those chats. Y'all enjoy talking shit with each other. I want you to know that this is where Besties by Bravo and Besties by Caitlin was founded. I found myself dying to talk with some friends about, oh my God, did you see last night's episode of Vanderpump Rules? And I literally couldn't find anyone in my immediate life that I was like, I can talk shit with someone about this. That's what this is about. We're creating the community of besties. Anywhere you listen, leave a 5-star review. I love reading those. They literally make my day. The 1-star reviews only make me slightly angry, and it gives me another reason to have a glass of wine, as if I need one. But on top of that, check out the merch shop. You can see I'm trying to finish getting all of it up on the bestiesbybravo.com website, but it is up on Etsy, Pop Culture Besties. It will be in the show notes. The link is there. It's all designed by me. And I'll tell you, the bestseller right now is I'm not really sure what I've done to you, but I'll take a Pinot Grigio shirt. That's been a major favorite, but I am constantly putting up new designs as soon as something comes into my little old brain, which is full of a lot of stuff sometimes, all the time. Follow Besties by Caitlin, Caitlin, on Instagram and TikTok. And just know, oh, thank you, Adam. I will miss y'all so much next week. But I just have this feeling that something's going to come out next week, only because I will not be in the actual continental United States. So I will see you on the 25th. Hopefully I'll be tan, toned, and happy, well fed. I love you all so much, and I will see you in a week and a half. All right, besties, have a great weekend. Bye.